Good morning, traders. Venderman here with FuturestraderElite to go over your NQ pre-market prep on 12/17, midway through the week. Hope everybody's been having a green week so far. Let's jump into this chart here and start seeing if we can break down some levels. This is on the 1 hour, and as you can see right now, we're butted up against this 1 hour trend line right here, and there's the R1 pivot. So kind of what we're needing to look at here, what I'm looking at, this is a solid drive right here on the 1 hour, but what we need to be paying attention to is this lower high right here. It's close to the R2 pivots around 650, and then we have this imbalance zone right here, this red box. I'm looking to see if we get this drive up to this R2 pivot. This imbalance zone is from 668 to 754. So if we can get up here and we don't, let's say you get a first reaction short at the R2 pivot, which is very possible, but then it bounces, you know, let's say it retraces and then bounces and fills this imbalance zone, I'm going to be thinking that first reaction probably be shorting out of this imbalance zone again, especially the top side. But when you look back through here and you see things like this candle here where it got sucked all the way back up, same thing happened to this one, and then same thing happened to this one, and then we had a hard rejection up here, and it got saved right here at this level and bounced up to the trend line. So this whole box is a key area. It's about 100 points, and you know, if we can get there today, I'd be real careful playing the long side unless there's a whole lot of momentum in it, and we can read that the momentum is there to keep going. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to think that anytime it gets up, if it does get up here, I'm gonna have to think anytime it's in this box, it's gonna have to be a short play. Now, if we can get out of this box, maybe consolidate a little bit, we might get another push to the upside. And then I would be willing to say, hey, let's go long. Even though we're above the golden pivot right now and at the R1 and keep climbing, the overall bias here is on the high time frame is still it's bearish. So I'd have to see it get above that and then go from there. As far as my bias towards what I think might happen, I mean, look at that. It's pretty ugly, and we hadn't been able to reclaim. We thought we was doing something back here, excuse me, until we couldn't break this over here. Excuse me. And since we couldn't break this over here, we ended up getting this drop. You know, what are they going to do? Are they going to try to keep driving this? And now we have a whole lot of confluence right here in this area all the way across, which is, say, 20, let's say 26,125 to probably 26,080. You know, that whole area up there is going to be hard rejection area more than likely if we get there, unless they try to save this and push it to all-time highs by the end of this month. That way they can put a new high this year. But I'm not seeing that right now. We just have to see how much they push over the next several days if they really do want to take this to the upside. Now, we all know it can move fast. There's nobody saying that it can't, you know, get all the way up here to this 1 hour trend line, which is 600 points away or so. I mean, it could do that easily. But until we see the momentum in it, and the buyers step in and outweigh the sellers. We can't be thinking that's what's going to happen just yet. To the downside, here we are on this 1 hour trend line like we was just discussing. We're starting to put in a red candle here on the 1 hour. What are we going to get this rejection off this trend line? And if so, are we going to get saved by this 1 hour trend line? Or are we going to come all the way back down to this golden pivot? Golden pivot is at 279. That's a good possibility. I mean, play first reaction bounce off the golden pivot, unless you have to be able to determine that when the market's open and how fast it's approaching that pivot and how close it is to that pivot when it starts. If it's only, say, 30 points or 40 points away from that pivot and you get a big speed candle, it may not save it. Those plays are better to me than most pivot plays are better if you're over 50 points away from it and all of a sudden you get a huge move real fast and then tap it. You don't want to be within 10-20 points of it and then it start and think you're going to get that first reaction. Not saying it can't happen. It can. I've seen it happen. I've traded it that way, but you get the better bounce and the better chances of a A+ first reaction when it's moving a lot faster and farther than that initially. Say we were to get back down to the golden pivot at the 279 area. That's 200 points away from where we are right now. If we break below that and we're through this 1 hour trend line, we still have this will be the 4 hour trend line, this green one here, to save it. And then you got that S1 pivot down at 115. I could see if we get a pullback today, I could see maybe we would really need to save it on this 4 hour trend line because we got this low here. It'd be nice to put in a higher low somewhere around here. Right now we're gradually putting in some higher lows right here. They don't I like that, but it's still, without taking out this lower high up here and then maybe getting some rejection down to this 1 hour trend line, that would be nice. We need this structure to start looking a little bit better than this, really. Otherwise we're just going to be shorting the pops and maybe buying the first reaction bounces maybe on the legs down. Just something, you got to be cautious. If the ATR gets kind of wild again today, it's been a lot of volatility in it, easy to get whipped around, so you need to be patient, let them trades come to you and execute safely on these trades. Yesterday was kind of crazy. It was whipping around pretty good, I thought, and you just had to find your key spots, your precision entry areas. I took a lot of stuff off my chart this morning to try to make this look better when we do pre-market prep. I know there was a lot of stuff on there. If anybody has any questions, shoot them into the chat and I'll try to answer them. There's a good chance that they're going to try to drive this up by the end of the month. I know still got that Santa rally could start happening, and it's usually later in the month when it starts, so, and towards the end. Sometimes it can start early, but I hadn't seen anything to imply that it has started yet. But you got to be patient. Don't overthink it. Don't overanalyze anything. I'm going to be looking anything between this S1 pivot down here and this R2 pivot up here is kind of the range that I'm going to be paying attention to the most today until we break out of one of those. So if we even break out, it could stay within that range. So I'm going to be paying attention from 115 to 650 the most, and looking for, because I don't really expect it to get through this R2 pivot today. It could, but until it proves that to me, I can't really think too much about a plan past that, other than this box up here, which I already went over. So I'd have to see it above the R2, and if it does, then, you know, like I said, we got about 100 points of play in this red box, this imbalance zone. So that's only if and when we get there. You know, we could get to the R2, reject, which is what I foresee happening more than anything, and then we got this S1. I think that'll protect us to the downside with the way the structure looks, but you never know what's going to happen. NQ been liking to drain off all day, it seems like, and if that's the case, then, well, we either play short or we just stay out, sit to the side, or wait for them bounces. You know, if we did get below the S1 pivot, there's some small boxes here that I had from previous that I would be paying attention to. Then I got this green box down here, which was a kind of the line in the sand type deal. That's at 870 to 885. See why I put that down there. Yeah, this whole area here got sucked up right here. All in here. See, there's a lot of confluence of tapping into this area down here before some drives up, some pretty good drives up actually, and that's why that box is down there. But I don't we're not going to say it couldn't get there, because we all know it could get to that green box today, but I don't think that's going to be the case either. Of course, it's still pretty early. It is Wednesday, and we don't predict, we react. So we just try to have a good idea of where we might see some reaction at on these charts. And I think you'll see some serious reaction up here at the R2 pivot to this box, that wick right there. And then down here, you know, I'd be looking, let's say, I would really like to see something around, I'd say 175 maybe. Well, that previous all-time high is 178. I could say you could go from 180 to 190 down in here somewhere, if we got through all this, you know, because we need to protect this low. I'm not so much worried, and we might protect these higher lows right here. You know, this one swept the pivot right here and sucked back up. So like if we took this one out and this one out, I would think we would protect this one right in this area somewhere. And then if not, you know, we could be thinking, let's say you're going to think we would be protecting this one. This would be around the 300, which is a whole number. So 3 to 310, maybe something like that. Protecting this low. And now this might be more feasible, because if we do get the pullback and sweep this 1 hour line here and tag this zone, precision zone, could get a great bounce off that. You know, that's close to 200 points from where we're at now, about 190. So, or 100, yeah. Yep, about 190. So that'd be a play, you know, sweep that 1 hour line, fake a bunch of people out, suck back up above the 1 hour line and close. That could very well be a move. That would have to happen sooner than later, though, because if we get over here, that's too far to really sweep. Well, no, it's not too far to sweep. I guess it could happen, but wouldn't be normal and something you would see like that very often. I think that's all I'm going to have for pre-market prep this morning, I believe. I don't really see anything else really worth going over at the moment. You know, if you're new here or first time seeing pre-market prep, you can come join the Discord for free. And I'll put precision entry zones into the live updates channel in Discord before the market opens of areas that I will be watching before the bell rings. And I hope everybody stays sharp and stays patient. Let them trades come to you, and don't chase. Don't try to predict. Just react to what it's telling us to do. Stay green. That way you can show up the next day. I hope everybody has a great Wednesday, and I will see you guys in Discord.